Listen, before we get to the thick of the interview with Miss Naturally Beautiful herself, I just need to share with anybody that is making time to listen today that for those of you that are penny pinching, questioning, doubting about using a content expert, people that know what they know, and they have figured things out for years, and we want to minimize their value, and we don't want to make hiring and partnering with them a priority. I am here to tell you, as a social entrepreneur for over 30 years, you are playing yourself. So let me just back up for a moment before we get started. I just a couple of days ago have really made a commitment because there's so much turmoil, so much stress and strife around this whole coronavirus. Well, y'all know we living in fear. But when we make a decision to look at the gifts, I want you to know this is one of the many gifts. I cannot tell you enough about the importance of us slowing down so that we can speed up. And you do not want to speed up by yourself. You really want to align yourself with people that know what they're doing. So not only am I learning and understanding and mastering not LinkedIn, but what do you call it? Zoom. Not only am I learning Zoom, now I have officially today launched my own YouTube channel. None of that, absolutely. Yes, Imani, yes. Clap louder for the people in the back. So listen, I am so excited about this because this is really about us taking this whole world of internet and our entrepreneurship on a whole nother level. But I could not have done it alone. I'm approaching 60 years old. I'm repelling social media. I don't like the technology, but because of this season and because of the grace and the patience of Michael DeMond, I am really embracing it. So it's YouTube now, but pretty soon I'm going to be mastering this stuff and I'm going to be blowing up y'all YouTube at least once a week. Just stick with me. So thank you again, Mike. Let's go ahead and get this party started really quick, guys. I really want to get to the meat of our interview, but I can't go any further without introducing two amazing people today. And just so you will know a little bit about who I am, for one thing, I do ramble a lot. So bear with me because I jump right into the meat of things. I feel like I never meet a stranger. So I act like y'all already know me and y'all don't know who I am. Who is this crazy rambling woman? So let me just share a little bit real quick. My name is Carmen Ray. I am a social entrepreneur born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I made my way to Arizona January 2014. And it wasn't a typical transition. You know how people save, they make a plan, they go get an apartment, they go get in a job. It was none of that. I literally came here for a 2-day vacation and fell in love. I thought the mountains were speaking to me personally. I came here with $200, not in my pocket, but to my name. And let me tell you, every step I made, God met me there. And so the rest of this breakdown, or I was deeply addicted to some drugs or something, what happened to her, what would make her just pop up and leave, it is only by grace that I am still here. And I love Arizona. And it was truly a divine process be here. And so because I have been a social entrepreneur for over 30 years, the Be Well Network is my company, and it's all about supporting women entrepreneurs and transition, making sure as we navigate life, regardless if it's divorce, if it's getting married, if it's having children, if it's empty nesting, if whatever it is, that we do not abort our desires to reach our goals in entrepreneurship. Many of our members are home-based business owners. And so it's all about us staying consistent with our grind and making sure that you stand on the three pillars of Be Well. We believe in order for you to be successful, you must be well connected. Plenty people will come through your pathway, but you want to connect with a core group of people that really want to see you be well. So we want you to be well connected. The second pillar is that we want you to be well informed. That means you need to go to the source of the information that best aligns itself with your goals and your desires in your business. And then we also know that you could be connected to so many people. You can be informed by so much information. But if you don't have the ability to be well inspired, because inspired action is what moves your business, right? So we want you to be well connected, be well informed, and be well inspired. And how we do that is through women retreats, and as well as making sure that we embrace technology the way we are today, and so that we can create online platforms to help you to get exposure for your business. It's really that simple. We want you to be well connected, be well informed, and be well inspired. So who I have helping me out today is one of our Be Well coaches. He is one of the coaches with the most, as I call him, Mr. Michael DeMond. We have been working 10 years. Not only do I appreciate all of his background, his talent, and his creativity, but the thing that's priceless is his temperament. I am not an easy person to work with. I come up with a lot of last minute things. I come up with things throughout the night, and I just got to have the kind of coach that I can text and say, we ain't got to talk about it now, but I just got this idea. And a person that understands you and your business well enough that they can take an ideal and develop it to a whole nother level. So it's not only his skill, his experience, and his talent, but it is his temperament, because everybody can't work with a personality like mine. So I want you to hear from Michael DeMond so you can just learn a little bit about why I am thrilled to be sharing this platform with him today.
Thank you, Carmen. I appreciate that. And it has been a pleasure. I love your ideas, and I love your platform and what you're doing for all the entrepreneurs who are looking for a platform and a place to be able to have their work shared with more people. So I think your mission and what you're doing to connect people and to inspire people and then to inform them is one that I'm more than happy to be a part of. I feel blessed to have an opportunity to be a part of that, and use my skills and my background to be able to support you with that. So thank you for the opportunity. So for anyone who hasn't met me or don't know who I am, my name is Michael DeMond. I'm the Chief Marketing Consultant for WeMergeMedia.com. And for the past 20 years, I've been working with small businesses, hundreds of small business owners, to really help them start, grow, and manage their business online using marketing technology. So this is what I love to do. This is what I like to do. I'm happy to be a part of this and help Carmen launch her platform to a new level. And looking forward to this interview to see what we can learn today from Imani.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Mike. And before we start with Imani, can I just say, does this feel like a full circle moment that we're having here? Remember Imani as a high school student, and really, getting started with her brand, and how you are connected, and you just showed her one or two things about creating her website. I remember you guys working on her logo some years ago, and look at her now. This little girl has blossomed to something quite amazing. She has an international brand. She is growing. She has evolved from naturally beautiful to love yourself. And during this season in particular, this is really really the time for us to slow down in life and see how we can better love ourselves. And so her brand and her mission is such an inspiration. So when you look at one of those pillars, I can certainly tell you to be well inspired is one that you can definitely count on with Naturally Beautiful and the Love Yourself brand. So at this time, let me introduce the one and only Ray Girl number two herself, Imani Ray. Please, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
I mean, I think you covered everything.
I
For
promise I
me,
did.
like my mom said, my name is Imani Ray. I'm the owner of Naturally Beautiful, a brand that I started in high school as a response to me struggling with my own self-esteem and confidence around my natural hair. And that business was able to connect with, through the business, I was able to connect with a lot of people who had a very similar experience that I did. And it's just been amazing thus far how I'm able to take my own personal journey, connect with others who are on the same journey, and just make a movement of it. It's been absolutely amazing. In addition to running and operating my business, I work for a nonprofit organization, doing another passion of mine, which is working in the community, working with young people and making an impact on their lives, which I absolutely enjoy. It's a blessing to be able to do multiple things that are connected to my passion, and just live such a meaningful, purposeful life.
Wow, look at you. That is such a blessing. Two things that you shared that I want us to discuss before we move on. One of the things is the fact that growing up, you were dealing with some self-esteem issues. And this is really for the parents in our listening audience, because I know for a fact that you were definitely surrounded by parents, aunts, grandparents, and people that adored you. But I want people to understand when children are growing up, it is not for us to dictate their experiences. That it's really important that we check in with them, because our ideal of love and support and giving them all that they need to have good high levels of self-esteem, we still can fall short. So before I have Imani to respond to that, I always made sure, especially with my daughters, because as I grew in my wisdom and my insight as a parent, I was able to make better decisions than I was with my sons, who are now in their late 30s and 40s, right? So these were my two younger children. So I recall like always saying to them, oh my goodness, you're beautiful, you're so smart, and you're just gonna be great. I had all the words and I had all of the language, but I'm here to let you know that regardless of what came out of my mouth, I really made my business and my work a priority over them. I remember so many days because I was surrounded by so many awesome family and friends. Is nothing can replace you being there with your children. And I am just here to tell you, I'm not one of those parents that try to act like I did everything right. Of course I didn't, because we're humans, but if I had to do it all over again, I would have definitely let some of that business stuff go. And I would have been there to not just tell Imani that she was amazing and super talented and relied on other people to show her. I would have been there to demonstrate that for her. So maybe perhaps she could have had more of a feeling of a higher level of self-esteem. So Imani, if you had to identify what things we could have done a little differently to help enhance your self-esteem, everything happens for a reason, because had you been 100% in that area, perhaps there wouldn't have been a deeper desire for Naturally Beautiful and Love Yourself. So life is not about good and bad. It's about us taking our experiences and our circumstances and how do we move it to a more positive level. So considering everything that I shared, what could we have done differently as parents? What can parents nowadays do a little bit differently so that we can give our kids what they need to just show up in the world differently?
Yeah, I think life just doesn't happen on accident. And because life doesn't happen on accident, it's almost hard for me to answer that question, because I truly believe that everything happens for a reason, and it's not happening to us, it's happening for us. And once I accepted that, I don't even know what is a regret. Like, what is that even?
But I feel you on that.
But to be 100% transparent, when I think about ways that I could have been affected positively just by my upbringing, I think the biggest thing for me, because I spend a lot of time on Twitter, especially since this quarantining, and there was a tweet yesterday that said, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? And my response was like, I would tell my 18-year-old self to go to that party, try something new, have fun, and don't take life too seriously. Mm-hmm. And I think it's not so much of like what y'all could have done as parents, because I think y'all did an amazing job at allowing me to be free and be me and be the weird, eclectic, just like strange person that I am. And I appreciate that. Like, y'all didn't make it wrong. Y'all didn't make make me feel bad about who I was. Although, like, my sister and I are completely different. And she has her things that make her unique. Nothing about our existence living in our household made us feel like we don't belong or we're not valuable because of the way we are. So I think the only thing that I can think of is just like not making me, but almost just like helping support me and not taking life too seriously. Because I think just from the very beginning, I just always felt the pressure of just like showing up a certain way, showing up the right way. And it wasn't until recently where I had to have a conversation with myself, like, you're not perfect. You'll never be perfect. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Like, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to like mess up. Like, that's what being human is all about. And when I started embracing my mistakes and embracing my wrong, like, life just feels a lot more worth it. Like, it feels so much more amazing with that mindset. And so I have to remind myself daily, like, that mistake you made was okay, or that thing that you did the wrong way, it's okay. You'll have another opportunity or another chance, or maybe that just wasn't the season for that. And so I think that's the biggest thing. Just like because it's so crazy. I never grew up in a household with strict. Well, my mom was very overprotective, and she is like very extra, but she never said you can't go to that party. But I also never asked to go to the parties. I never really got invited to the parties because people just assume like, oh, she doesn't do that. But like, now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I could have went to a couple parties or turned up a little bit more, because like I spent majority of my youth like adulting. Then I became an adult for real. I'm like, this is trash. Like, I should have enjoyed my youth a little bit longer, but I'm still in my 20s and I'm trying to make the best of my 20s. So the faster this quarantine is over, I can get back to my 20s.
Right. I love what you just shared. That was so real on so many levels. And just one more tip for parents, you know, we had Imani at a much older age. I have experienced being an old parent and a young parent. My first son was born at 16. And then later in life, closer to 40, I come up with these two girls. And like, whose right idea was that? I was supposed to be done. And so I think as a result of that, we have a tendency, once life really happens to us, see, when we young, like my oldest is like, we like friends. Like, we grew up together. And so because of that, we have a different relationship. We turn up together because that's just been our history. But as an older parent, we sometimes turn out of fear. So it was okay for me. I had one Shamani, who wanted to turn up constantly and do everything. And then I had Imani, who did not want that. Her ideal of turning up was going to the community brainstorming meetings with us and overdosing at the time.
Wait, overdosing on what?
Bacon.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Mom. Just put me all out there, huh?
That's your pre-vegetarian days. I gotta remember to let the people know you got history.
I'm ODing on vegan bacon these days.
Right. So, you know, that's one of the things that that I could really see that experience. So we do have to create a balancing act between giving our kids experiences so they don't have to feel extra pressure in their young adult life, because life is all about making those making those mistakes so you can course correct and keep it moving, right? And one of the other things that you shared, Imani, on your first question that I would like for you to expand your thoughts on is the fact that you are growing and maintaining your business, but you're working a full-time job. And here's what I think the difference is between you doing that and many of us that's trying to nurture and grow our side hustle, is that you didn't settle for anything. You did not go back into the workplace out of fear. You went and you took the time to seek out or have create an opportunity and a space for an employer to come to you that was in alignment with your passion, gifts, and abilities. Okay, so talk about that for a minute, Imani, on like how important that is for us not to settle, because your mother settles quite often.
Mm-hmm. I think something that I'm going to try not to ramble and try to get all of my thoughts into very concisely, but I think the beauty of my upbringing was I feel like we were a transient family. I got that word from you, Mom. We were being well traveled, being well in transition, all of those things. Like when I tell you, we literally moved so much, like every year almost. New school, new environment, new friends, new people, just new environments consistently throughout my life. Whereas when I was a young adult, I reflected on that and it made me so upset. I'm like, I never got a chance to really settle in and connect with people and just sit still for a minute. But now that I'm an adult, I appreciate my experience because I've learned to adjust. I've learned to be um I've learned to take a situation that may not look good and make the best of it because of those situations. Like the skills that I have at my job, I have those skills because of what I experienced as a kid, not from a college degree or from the traditional route of things. I got all of those skills from my untraditional upbringing. And watching my parents as a kid literally like run and operate businesses and do all these things inspired me to never settle for what I have to do. And even if I am going to be in a position where I have to settle for what I got to do, it's going to be something that I enjoy. So when I was younger, I watched my parents, they did consulting and they had the flip chart paper and like they would let me do the flip charts. And being so in like invested in their experience and like watching them do all these amazing things and make an impact on the community, and growing up being known as like Carmen and Terrence's daughter, like because of the amazing things that they did, I had no choice but to carry on that legacy by like walking in their footsteps in my own unique way, though. Like my goal isn't to be Carmen and Terrence's daughter. It's to take everything that I learned from them and try to be an even more improved version of what they were and the impact that they had on the city. And so I think for me, because I watched my mom own her own business, work in nonprofits, change the whole like structure and of a nonprofit and make it amazing. Watching that helped me to be like who I am today. And at first I was just like, I don't want to work. Cause like when I was in school at Alverno, I was working like 3 jobs and in school full time and running my business and burning out, like, and watching myself burn out and knowing that it was happening. And it took a while for me to realize like, that's not the journey that I have to be on. And so like my mom said at the beginning of this video, sometimes we have to, what was it, Mom, slow down to speed up?
Yeah.
And that was the definition of that season in my life. So many times I've had to literally break down, to break open, slow down to speed up, like just crash and burn to like create a masterpiece in the end, like literally so many times. And it's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to happen over and over again, because like right now, I'm working full time, but I didn't settle this time. Like I had to settle all those other times so I could know not to settle and what not settling looks like. Because right now I don't have to be working. Like I could figure it out and really just push myself hard and do my business full time, but it's just not realistic with the life that I live right now and the needs and the responsibilities that I have. I need to have consistent income while I build my business to get to a point where it is bringing me consistent income, and I'm okay with that. And at first, I was hard on myself about it. I was like, no, like you need to be a full-time entrepreneur. Like I thought that was the goal and it needed to happen now. And I'm constantly reminded that like that can be a goal and something I get to eventually, but I have so much time to just really build up myself. So right now I'm working and I'm figuring out like what it means to really save for a rainy day and have extra money to travel. And like, I'm like figuring that out, and I can't be like penny pinching and just working my business and trying to figure that out if I don't have consistency. So I'm grateful for my job that is creating that stability and that consistency so that eventually I save up enough where I can travel, have fun, do all these amazing things, and then run my business full time where I get to a point that's like all that matters. But right now I'm just like building myself up. Last thing I will add to that, there's this YouTuber named what is his name? I just posted him on Instagram yesterday. And he has a really awesome YouTube channel and a really awesome business. And he made a post. He was like, I may get a lot of people that remove me from social media, delete me, or don't want to engage with my content anymore because of this post. But this is something I had to do for myself in my next journey in my life. And he literally like, he had multiple like fancy high-end cars, this huge house, and like so many like things that people strive for. Like they run their business so they can be able to afford these luxuries. And he was like, he's like 27 or something like that, really young, but he was able to achieve these goals really fast. And he realized he was achieving goal after goal after goal, buying all these fancy things, and he wasn't full because of them. He was like, this isn't doing anything for me. I still feel empty and I don't feel happy with these luxury items. What is like, he thought that when he was younger, balling out, getting all these cars and these clothes, he just thought it was the thing to do. And he thought that was going to bring him the happiness he was looking for and fill that void. And he literally got rid of everything and took a picture of him and his girlfriend in an empty, small, like studio apartment. And just showed that like, I don't care what anybody thinks of this, but I'm like starting over and recreating myself and putting more of my energy into supporting people on their journey, and like it's like investing in myself and my journey beyond material things and luxury things. And when I saw that yesterday, that really inspired me and helped me to slow down. In the same context of the question you asked me, Mom, is like, I don't have to strive to be this fancy full-time entrepreneur, like what it looks like, the ideal full-time entrepreneur, just living the perfect life. And well, anybody who's an entrepreneur knows that it's nothing. Right. It's far from nothing perfect about it. It's nothing perfect about it. It ain't sweet. And so reading that message, I think it was yesterday, helped me to let go of this idea of what the perfect full-time entrepreneur lifestyle looks like, and just solely invest in my time and my energy and effort in building a better, more whole version of myself and creating what happiness looks like for me without this expectation of what the world thinks it should look like or what it should be. Because every day isn't a successful, amazing day running my business, but every day is another opportunity to figure something out or learn something new, and try something different, to make a better impact on my business. So that's a very long-winded answer, but no,
that's some good stuff. Some good stuff in there, yeah. We're gonna chop it up so we can use some of that.
Awesome. Okay, well, before we get started with the second question, Mike, did you have anything to add to that part of the conversation?
No, I mean, like, I have nothing. Anything I would have thought to say was been said already. So I think that was like, I like this. I forgot how great our conversations have been, Imani. So this is kind of taking me back to all that.
Man, I'm sitting here. I'm like, dang, like we need to connect for real, Mike, because I've been like super trying to figure out the balance between this work stuff, the coronavirus and like business, and it would be dope just to kind of like check in and just have a conversation and see how we can maybe work together during this time, especially since like you're the king of the virtual world. So we can figure out how to do some work together.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so Imani, question number 2: what adjustments have you made personally and in your business due to the pandemic that we're facing now?
Great question. I've been trying to really work on my routines, and I had like a solid morning routine and evening routine when I was working. But now that I'm like in the same space 24 hours, like it's been tricky, and so I'm trying to figure out that balance. And right now I'm like looking at my time a lot, because I'm supposed to be doing a check-in with my students right now actually, but sorry that I'm like trying to multitask. But I think the adjustments that I really made, just like having a solid routine, making sure I'm getting out of the bed and not too much like working in comfortable spaces, but like trying to sit at the kitchen table or spending some time outside and just like chopping my day up has been helpful. But also as far as business goes, I have, to be 100% transparent and honest with y'all, probably haven't touched my business stuff like twice since the pandemic has happened, because I've been trying to adjust emotionally and adjust to work stuff as well. And that's been challenging. And my business has caught the rut of it all. I haven't really been putting the time into it, but I'm trying to give myself grace and know that even if I just, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, we can hear you.
I've been trying to adjust and tell myself that even if I just do one thing every day towards my business, I'll get there. Like yesterday, I wrote on my whiteboard over there, orders to fill. And that's all I wrote. I didn't write the orders down that I need to fill. I didn't contact the people I needed to contact, but I wrote down on the whiteboard orders to fill.
That works.
Because like I haven't done anything. And the day before that, I got the my boxes together of shirts and stuff like that I had left, and like organized all that stuff, and like got at least the orders are in a position where I can just package them, put names on them, and like get them ready to get shipped off. And that's a huge step. It seems like nothing, but it's like a huge
major
step for me. So my focus right now has just been like one thing a day, one intentional thing a day to move towards like getting things where I need to go. And I think it's got me in a position where my business now is it's really rocky, because I was already in a state of like rebranding or figuring out like what because I have the Love Yourself collection right now, and I was in the phase of preparing to launch a new collection, and y'all know how I get when I'm overwhelmed. So I've been like trying to balance between the like, okay, stick with what you got. It's a pandemic going on right now. You don't need to create nothing new. So I'm in a phase of just like figuring all of that out and just giving myself grace and being patient and understanding with everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I really encourage you not to sit with it, that you really want to connect with Mike sooner than later, because he's masterful as helping, having that eye for entrepreneurship and being able to give you some creative suggestions that will sit well with you. So let's make that a priority, I would advise.
For sure.
The last questions: what can we do to know more about your projects that you have going on, as far as your job, which is so in alignment with your purpose, or your business? Is there anything that we can do to support you during this time?
I think to support me during this time, you know what? That's one question I don't have the answer to. I find myself having a hard time figuring out what I need. So like I don't ask for support a lot, and I'm working on that. And I realize that sometimes I just don't know what I need. So asking for support seems like it doesn't seem like the thing to do, because I don't know what I'm asking for. But I think if folks continue to just like follow my social media and stay caught up on what it is that I have going on, and just engaging with my social media is helpful. I try to post things. I just try to be real on my social media platforms. If I'm going through something, I'm posting it. If something great is happening, I'm posting it. I try to be as transparent as possible. Like literally, I posted yesterday, if 2020 was a meme, what meme would it be? Just for some comical relief and just have something positive going on in these like dark, very, very dark times. And so, or I'll post like, what is something new that you learned about yourself during the coronavirus pandemic? And I ask those questions because I spend a lot of time talking to myself in this apartment. I'm like, I could just ask other people virtually, like online. And so like, I try to engage people with my inner thoughts. That's what my social media is, like me engaging people with my inner thoughts and what I have, the conversations that I'm having in my head, or struggles or insecurities that I deal with. Like I'm literally posting that stuff on social media. So just engaging with me in that way is super helpful, and just joining the journey with me. Like you're literally getting a highlight reel into my my personal self-love and self-care journey. So
which is absolutely incredible. Well, I want to just thank you both so much. Imani, I know you have to get to your students, and just encouraging you, love you, love you, love you. Can't we believe that we're separated at a time like this, but I'm so glad that God is your source and I am not your source. We got to just know that. So, Mike, any closing comments? I can't thank you enough for bringing us out here in these virtual streets. I sure appreciate it.
Yeah, another good conversation, and something that I think that everybody will be able to find something they can relate to. I think as I was listening to Imani's answer to your questions, I think one of the things that came to me, we talked about how the entrepreneurial lifestyle is not the pretty picture that everybody think it is, and like the guy who had all the luxuries learned, it's really not even about that. But what I would say, about, how you felt like you had a lot to kind of sift through and figure out what the priority is that to me, one of the greatest gifts of being an entrepreneur is that freedom to choose.
Yes.
And knowing that no one else has dictation over what you feel your priority should be at that time and what's going to make you feel good. So definitely we'll have that talk, and we'll, we'll talk about, what's in front of you, where you need to go from there. But just keep in mind, like, you choose, you decide, everybody else feeds off what you give them. Don't let it be the other way around. You're not the food, you're the feeder.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
Protect yourself in that way.
Yes.
Because that's the power that you have in this, is knowing that, hey, this is my choice.
Yes, and other power that she has that I remind her at least once or twice a week. She sent me a text not too long ago. I wanted to get some braids, Mom, but they're too expensive. I responded back, they so much cheaper than formula and Pampers, though. Get yourself some braids, child. So this is your time. I am telling you, do not, give yourself some grace. And this is your time to really, really lean into those 20s, because what you do in your 20s will definitely determine how you spend the rest of your life. So continue to make some wise decisions. And thank you both so much for your time. We'll see you next time. We'll add links in the comment. So you can connect with Mike as well as Imani and the Be Well community. And you all be well and make it a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Thank you too. Thanks for the opportunity. Have a good day, everyone.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Bye.